Rockwell's on. I know the Rockwells.
Oh, great.
Let me see.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Rebecca.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Let me make sure my husband has it. He wants to come on too.
How's everybody doing?
Great. How are you?
Doing all right. It's 92 degrees out here, so
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's hot.
Hot for the East Coast. Awesome. And I see a mom, Amy. Welcome, Amy.
Hi.
Awesome. And then let's see, a few more people coming in. Awesome. And the Rockwells.
Yay, the Rockwells.
Of the Waldmans. How do you know each other?
My younger son, Grant, goes to school when we went to elementary school together with her son.
He's right here, but he's eating lunch. You want to say hi to Mrs. Waldman?
Hello.
Say hi to Mrs. Waldman.
Hi.
Hi there.
You remember Grant's mom? Yeah.
All right. Well, it's nice to see you. Wow. So you were able to make it.
Yes. I just finished an appointment. I have another one at 1. I'm taking care of that gentleman in the nursing home.
I know. You're amazing. It's an amazing story.
He is his hearing aid. Yeah. If you guys ever want to just research homeless man Del Mar, Kim Rockwell, you'll see it.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, well, we're so happy to have you here, Kim. That's so wonderful that you're making time for this. Thank you.
Did the Waldmans get? Let me just see. Andrew got. Oh, Andrew. He didn't show his face. Okay.
And then Tom, I'm assuming is your husband.
Yeah.
He's joining right.
Oh, there's Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
So good to meet you.
I love it.
All right. And we have Terrence Patritz. Hi, Terrence.
Hi, Rebecca.
Terrence.
Hi.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get started, and I'll add more people as they come in. But welcome and happy Wednesday, everyone. We're so excited to see you at our Lunch and Learn. This is our 60-second Lunch and Learn. Let me go back. A couple Zoom rules for those of you who are new, or as a refresher for those of you who are returning. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. We recommend speaker view for presentation. Video sharing is optional, though we love to see all your smiling faces. And please type all questions and comments into the chat. I will be monitoring the chat with any questions or comments, and we will have a Q&A at the end with our guest speaker where you can unmute yourself or type any questions in the chat for me to read the question to our guest speaker today. So please engage as much as you love. We love seeing all the comments from everyone. A quick update from Autism Tree. We have now reached over 627,912 people through all of our social media channels since the beginning of COVID, since shelter in place in late March in 2020. This has been an incredible effort of our team of interns and our program directors and volunteers. Our posts have been shared over 1,044 times. Thanks to everyone who's sharing our content and reaching all over at different states, different counties, different countries even. We'd love to have this global reach during this time. That's been one big blessing throughout this. We also have shared 423 videos on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe today if you haven't yet. It only takes 1 minute. We do post every week, multiple times a week. We posted 366 videos since March 12th. And that's all been from our amazing volunteers. We have a couple different playlists, including this Lunch and Learn playlist. All of these Lunch and Learns are recorded and put on our YouTube. In addition, we also have our Reading with Autism Tree series, where our volunteers read children's books to our kids and families. We've reached over 52,292 people. And also, we have provided 299 virtual events and some in-person events to date, with 17 events coming up between now and the end of September. So lot to get involved in at Autism Tree for both families, volunteers, siblings, everybody is welcome. We offer currently 19 out of our 20 programs that are virtually. 18 of those are actually virtual. And then we have 3 in person. Our Bridge to the Beach program, which happened this summer, was in person. Our dance program, which is hybrid, and our National Charity League Girls Mentor program, which is going to be back in person too. So lots of fun events coming up. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Rebecca, the Director of Operations, and I'd be happy to let you know about all that's going on. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to Dana Hoff, our co-founder and volunteer executive director, who will introduce our 63rd Lunch and Learn guest speaker today.
Thank you, Rebecca. It's so great to be here with everybody. And I just wanted to tell you how extraordinary it is to me that we have all these videos, and just welcome to Carol's friends and family that are here joining us for her special Lunch and Learn today. It's an honor to have you, and we do a follow-up email that'll be sent out with the link to this recording of what we learned from Carol today. And I wanted to make a two special shout outs. One is to Rebecca, because she is just coming off a weekend of huge connection with our family. You know, we've all been going through this global pandemic together. It feels like to me for 2 years now. And this last weekend, Rebecca did a huge family day on the beach on Saturday for our families, with many different volunteer groups helping us, and also for the National Charity League group that we've been partnered with since 2009. I think it's incredible. We started in 2009 with 4 little girls with autism, partnering with the Del Sol chapter of the National Charity League in North County here in San Diego, California. And today we have over 600 girls with autism and their moms that participate in that program ongoing. And so it's just incredible to me, all the work that goes on. And once in a while, I'd like to share it, and particularly because this was in-person events and we haven't had too many in the last year for sure. So it was a lot for Rebecca. I want to say huge gratitude to you, Rebecca, for just loving on our families and community partners and volunteers. I know you did an outstanding job, and you're here today and you're doing a great job too. So thank you. I know you're tired. The thing that happened for me this weekend is I was at the inaugural weekend for the new shell at the San Diego Symphony. And I wanted to share with you how beautiful, what an incredible blessing it is for us to have that partnership, and to let Terrence know that he is doing such a phenomenal job as a musician who's our liaison for Autism Tree and introduces each video in the Meet the Instrument series put out by the San Diego Symphony. So if you haven't seen those are on our website, on our YouTube site. And Terrence, I want to let you know that I met the CEO, Martha Gilmer, and her husband this weekend, and she knew all about you, and she's looking forward to meeting you. So we will be making that happen in the coming months with you. I talked to Maria yesterday, who you met, Terrence, who's in charge of, she's the Vice President of Community Engagement. And she's really excited to bring you to some concerts and have you meet much more of the staff, including the CEO and the staff around her that's excited to know you on a more personal basis and have you come see the concerts with them. So that was exciting to me. That happened on Sunday. And then I think, Carol, did we meet with you last week or the week before?
I think it was last week.
You know, I had to ask because it's like, it's incredible. It's every time it's so different than it used to be, I feel like. But yeah, there we are. Is that right? On May 26th? Oh yeah, that was our first Zoom call, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were pulling up pictures from getting to know you. And then there we are at Bella Vista. And we actually got to see Amanda, who, if you haven't met her yet, runs the Bella Vista Social Club, which is right where the Stanford Consortium is for regenerative medicine, where we do our neuroscience conference every year. So it was really fun to take Carol in person to lunch, and she got to meet Amanda and see where we do our annual neuroscience conference. And I just think we spent twice as long as we imagined, Carol, but we certainly enjoyed every minute getting to know you, getting to know your family, and just the ins and outs of really what kind of like what your journey and path has been, and I'm so excited to introduce you today and just say it's really timely because in our neuroscience conference panel, we always have an Autism at Work panel, and that's made up of CEOs, people at the university level that are doing things to make the college process more as embracing to neurodiverse thinkers. And then I look at that all, the college aspect is like early intervention for autism at work. And that's something we've been spending years on here at Autism Tree is autism at work. So I think everything that Carol is going to share today, and big warm welcome to you, Andrew, too, her son, who's in college. And just to learn from them is quite extraordinary because we have over 200 teens that are involved in Autism Tree and our programs that are meant for teens. And so this information is really timely on that level too. And I just can't say enough that we're going to keep bringing forth parents like Carol who can really talk about how they've made the college transition a successful one. So thank you, Carol, for being an inspirational woman and mother. And thank you to Carol and friends and family for being here today. Warm welcome.
Hey, thank you, Dana. I'm really excited to be here today to share my journey with my son, Andrew, who is diagnosed with the autism spectrum disorder at age 5. Andrew is now 19 years old, so I'm sure some of what was recommended during his younger years has changed. And I think today experts in the medical and educational fields know so much more about how to look for and recognize autism at an earlier age. The story I'm about to share with you will address some of my more challenging experiences with trying to seek the right support, as well as our successes throughout the process. I didn't know about the Autism Tree Project Foundation when Andrew was younger, and with trying to raise 3 kids, I didn't have the parent connection I so desperately needed at the time. But I did the best I could with what I knew, and so here we go. Our son Andrew was born in Los Angeles in October 5th, 2001. He's the oldest of 3 kids. He has a younger sister and a brother. Andrew appeared to hit all of his developmental milestones right on track, and no one seemed worried about Andrew's development until I took him to his 3-year-old doctor's appointment. Our pediatrician expressed concerns that Andrew could not jump and was not answering basic questions. It was recommended that we take Andrew to a developmental pediatrician, and thus began the journey to find out what was going on with Andrew. After numerous testing and observations were done, we were told that Andrew displayed difficulty with his gross and fine motor skills. We were advised to start physical therapy and to sign him up for private gymnastics lessons with an instructor who would work with Andrew on his flexibility, strength, and jumping. Andrew seemed to love gymnastics, but the physical therapist sessions were much less exciting. For me personally, it was hard to be consistently reminded at nearly every session about Andrew's low muscle tone and how he was behind in both his gross and fine motor skills. Hearing these facts over and over would just reinforce my initial sadness and worries about Andrew. And I couldn't understand how this was happening, and it was also exhausting. About 6 months later, and only after I went to the preschool director to ask how she thought Andrew was doing, and if she felt that Andrew needed anything else to help him flourish in school, I was told that Andrew was a little bit quirky and needed help with pretty much everything. Apparently, Andrew was experiencing difficulty with social interactions, and he was exhibiting some repetitive behaviors like running in circles. So he suggested hiring a special instructional aide to help him while at school. I broke down in tears during that meeting and promised I would do everything I could to support Andrew. We found an aide who came to Andrew's preschool class in the mornings, but we soon learned that Andrew needed additional help outside the classroom with his language and sensory skills. And we eventually added speech and occupational therapy to his already busy regime. I found ways to entertain myself then, mostly walking around along Montana Avenue, a popular street in Santa Monica that is upscale, trendy boutiques and is known for occasional celebrity sightings. I was pregnant with my third child, and sometimes I would just sit in the cafe and pretend that none of this was really happening to us. But the reality was that it was especially painful for me to have to take Andrew to these therapies while the other kids in his preschool classes were taking karate and swim lessons together or gathering at someone's house for a play date after school. I personally felt so left out and was extremely lonely. Well, we decided to have Andrew tested again before he would attend kindergarten at our local school in the Los Angeles Unified School District. We had an entire team at the Individualized Education Program, also commonly known as an IEP. Andrew's initial IEP turned out to be a grueling and unforgettable 6-hour experience. And here's my recap from the meeting. I don't remember exactly all the services that were offered, but I definitely remember the presence of animal crackers. I remember that the only edible item available to us at that meeting were animal crackers. And I couldn't help but stare at that enormous jar of crackers right in the middle of the table. I was sure that this big container had come from Costco, and I could feel the crackers calling out to me. You see, I loved animal crackers. However, when I was offered a cracker during a short break, I declined because for the first time ever in the presence of animal crackers, I had no appetite. My emotions of confusion and outrage at that time overshadowed my appetite for food. I would have rather starved than eaten anything offered to me from that dark and solemn room at that local neighborhood school. And the meeting ran so long, I had to leave to pick up Andrew's sister from school and left my husband to finish up. After that encounter, we decided that we would keep Andrew at his preschool one more year with an aide, even if insurance wouldn't cover the aide once the child turned 5. We then had to come up with a plan as to which elementary school would be best for Andrew. We were not going to send him to his local public school after that IEP experience. And not only was it an extremely long and agonizing drawn out session, the staff seemed intent on minimizing Andrew's issues. We lost faith in the public school's ability to care for our son and started thinking we would move to another city if public school ever became our only option. I really didn't think this was the case. I thought for sure he would get into at least one private school. Just one was all I needed, and I believed everything would be okay. And so we applied to several private schools in the area, including the one associated with our temple. We were confident he would get into that school. However, on the day of my daughter's preschool parent-teacher conference, we were asked to meet with the director of the elementary school, which was in the same building, and we were told there was no way they would let Andrew come to the school. The school wasn't for kids who would excel. The school was for kids who would excel academically and in sports and who wouldn't need the extra support that Andrew would need. They didn't have the resources, nor had they planned to instate them soon. I once again left a meeting in tears, and they continued to flow as I sat with my daughter's teachers. I had no idea what they had said about her other than she was fine. And in my mind, fine was good. That week, we also learned that Andrew was rejected from 2 other private schools. We had to come up with a plan. During this time, Tom was offered a work opportunity that would land us in San Diego. Andrew ended up at Ocean Air School in the Del Mar School District for kindergarten, and then Solana Santa Fe School in the Solana Beach School District for the rest of his elementary school years. And while we were relieved to be in smaller school districts where the IEP process was much more personable and better able to meet his needs, the challenges of the outside therapies were a constant and often overwhelming experience. Not only was Andrew involved in multiple speech and occupational therapies each week, but I found myself driving him to a social group on late Friday afternoons where the purpose was to learn to socialize with other boys his age. And believe me, Andrew would have much rather have been at a baseball, basketball, or football practice. That indeed sounded much more fun than for us both. Fortunately, all the outside help was helping Andrew as he did stay at his grade level and learned appropriately. He began to enjoy sports and riding a bike. And while sometimes the field at school would be a place for him to lose focus and spin around, the elementary school kids tolerated his mannerisms and tried to include him. We were worried, though, about sending Andrew to the local middle school, which combined 5 elementary school graduates into one. We took advantage of the opportunity to send Andrew to the San Diego Jewish Academy, which had a class of about 40 students. And at first, things seemed to progress well. Andrew had his bar mitzvah midway through 7th grade at age 13. Things seemed great until they weren't. It felt like overnight, everything went terribly downhill. Andrew would have outbursts at home, and he just was so frustrated with trying to keep up his grades and fitting in socially. It was really hard for him. He was anxious about social situations at school and his temple. He just wanted to be accepted and liked. And most important, he wanted true friends. There were many moments throughout the next couple years, whether it would be dropping grades or additional outbursts, where I felt hopeless and alone with raising Andrew. Despite his challenges at that time, Andrew was able to engage in activities like Camp Simcha, an amazing local Jewish summer day camp that welcomes neurodiverse kids, Camp Mountain High, a Jewish sleepaway camp, basketball, youth groups, and the Teen Journey program at Temple Salel. And while in high school, he was a summer counselor at Camp Simcha. Structure and the right group of peers and adults who are caring and tolerant made a huge difference. And feel free to question our judgment here. We let Andrew join the 150% of his classmates, so he said, in having his own iPod and then a phone. His grandfather chipped in with an Xbox, and so game playing became a place to retreat and regroup, including in social situations. Andrew worked with a mental health professional throughout most of his middle school and high school years. He gave us suggestions on how to guide Andrew through the tough times, including how to help him with being responsible as well as maintain structure at home. We tried our best to help him in these areas. In addition, we wanted to provide Andrew with more academic support to help boost his grades. We found a wonderful educational therapist, Dana Gordon, who is with Lowest Learning. Each week, twice a week, I drove Andrew to our office in Carmel Valley so that Andrew could get the academic support he needed to thrive. Andrew worked hard in high school. And while at times it was frustrating for him when things came easier to his siblings and friends, he persevered at it. That fall, we were stunned to learn that Andrew was elected 9th grade homecoming king by his classmates. We were so excited for Andrew. We were really impressed with the students' compassion towards Andrew and grateful for this amazing honor. Andrew looked so handsome, all dressed up. That winter, we got to see Andrew play in the junior varsity basketball team, and we were thrilled every time we got to watch Andrew play the games. It seemed that all was going well enough until I was contacted by the Academic Learning Center team at his school and learned that according to the other students his age, Andrew was not being appropriate on social media. Andrew was inserting himself into phone chats and inviting himself to parties. I was told that his peers were not having as much patience with him as they did earlier in the year. I was devastated as I thought Andrew had true friends at his school. In addition to the social life concerns, we were also beginning to wonder if Andrew was getting the necessary support he would need to succeed both in high school and in college. As 9th grade was coming to an end, we decided to start the process of school searching again. Andrew's doctor and I came up with a few options, and the best one seemed to be move Andrew over to Canyon Crest Academy, also known as CCA, a local public school in the San Diego School District. At that time, CCA offered the Coastal Learning Academy, which was geared to the neurodiverse student population who could handle the academic requirements, but lagged in social skills and life skills needed for independent living. Andrew transferred to CCA in the 10th grade and stayed for the remainder of his school years. This was a big transition for Andrew, and he integrated himself into his new surroundings really well. Andrew soon realized that his academic support class was going to help him in the areas he really needed support. Since there were more resources available at the public school, Andrew was able to have additional accommodations that he did not have at his private school. The resources that were most helpful at that time included support in executive functioning skills, life skills, career transitions, and how to navigate successfully throughout the high school years. As he developed more confidence in his skills, Andrew decided to challenge himself with harder classes in his junior year and was able to obtain high grades and be successful as a result of working harder in those classes. The summer leading up to 11th grade, Tom and I thought it would be a good idea for Andrew to experience some independence and get a taste of college life by living in a dorm setting. We decided that Andrew would participate in the college internship program, also known as CIP, where he would spend 2 weeks in a dorm located at the Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. The program aimed to help high school students navigate dorm life and learn the life skills they would need to succeed should they choose to live in a dorm while at college. The decision to send Andrew to CIP seemed obvious in the spring that year. The program sounded amazing and perfect for what we wanted for Andrew. And after applying and getting letters of recommendations, as well as sending his IEP and interviews on Skype, we learned that Andrew was accepted into the summer program. We thought Indiana would be a great choice for Andrew, as he loves to travel and the school is in a major conference called the Big Ten. It turned out to be a great program, and Andrew expressed that he felt more confident and believed he was ready to go to college, away to college. Andrew entered his senior year excited to experience all the activities and achievements that came with being a senior. Andrew began the year spending a majority of his time applying to colleges and applied to 12 of them. Andrew worked with a college counselor who knew which colleges had accessibility centers and helped us with determining the level of support these centers offered. Truth be known, this is an ever-changing field, and accessibility centers at many of the colleges are now expanding to provide more ASD support. Andrew applied mostly to colleges that had a higher level of support and a few with a mid-level support, as he wanted a college with a good sports team and a vibrant Jewish community. In addition, Andrew had to decide if he wanted to try out for varsity basketball. We encouraged Andrew to talk to the coach and ask what role he would have as a team member. He knew he didn't have the same skills as the other players, and he was worried he'd be allowed a spot on the team because of his autism, and he didn't want special treatment. The coach explained to him that he would be selected onto the team because he was a dedicated, hardworking, and reliable player. In December of that year, Andrew made his first three-pointer in a game. The entire school knew about the shot, as the video was played over and over in various classrooms in the school. Everyone knew who Andrew Waldman was, and that did wonders for his self-esteem. Andrew ended his 12th grade year with great success. He won the Exceptional Student Award and was able to participate in a drive-through graduation, followed by a small celebration with his best friend. When Andrew found out he was put on the wait list of University of Wisconsin, one of his dream schools, he wrote a couple of letters with documentation compelling them to choose Andrew for admission. 2 days before his senior graduation, Andrew learned he was accepted at Wisconsin. That summer, Andrew did an internship with Congressman Scott Peters' reelection campaign. He did it remotely, making numerous calls to constituents to encourage them to support the campaign. And at the end of August, Tom and I flew Andrew to Madison. Dropping a kid off to college is emotionally challenging for most parents, but dropping Andrew off during this unique time so far away was more difficult for me than I thought it would be. I was worried about Andrew doing his classes on Zoom and making friends while staying healthy. I kept wondering if I'd made the right decision letting Andrew go away to college during COVID. But Andrew was ready, and he made the best of this year. Andrew had a roommate and made friends at the dorm. He survived his first year there and even got COVID. He went into isolation for 14 days in a hotel, kept up with his classes online, and made it through just fine. At Wisconsin, Andrew has utilized both the university's accessibility online services and a private program called Virtual Hall for academic support. Virtual Hall is part of the Mansfield program that provides coaching services to colleges who are not able to join in person. It provides college and student life coaching in a team-based model, which integrates executive functioning, writing, and college support to help students become their very best. And we are proud to say that Andrew made the Dean's List this year. Andrew's come home for the summer and he loves being home with his family and seeing his friends. He really wanted to get a paid internship working in politics, but is finding that is an extremely competitive process and is working for Postmates. He will aim for that internship goal again next summer. He's also helping me drive his younger brother to day camp and continues to seek other types of work for the summer. And most importantly, he maintains a very busy social life. Andrew will return to Wisconsin in the fall and live in an apartment on his own and will continue to have the support of both the accessibility office and virtual hall. He's very excited to be the proud owner of season football tickets for Wisconsin. I can't wait to hear all about his new experiences as a college student moving forward. And as we in the family now say, go Badgers. Before I end, I must share with you that when Andrew came home for his spring break, his friends from Temple Solal surprised him by picking him up at the airport and taking him to In-N-Out Burger before dropping him off at home. It was the most exciting thing ever. And of course, Andrew and Tom and I were so excited. Who would have ever thought this would be something Andrew would get to experience? I want to let you know, I first learned about the Autism Tree Project Foundation from my friend Brina, who raved about this foundation. I attended a lunch with a breakfast at Tiffany's theme and remembered all the impressive speakers, including Dana's son, Garrett. I was so impressed with ATPF and wanted to get involved right then and there, but I was raising 3 kids and they were young, and any extra time I spent was at my kids' school or my passion, politics. I recently started to become more involved in the foundation as I started attending these lunch and learns. And as my kids are older now, I am now excited to become more involved in several ways. I love to be a resource for other families who have kids approaching the college age and would especially like to become more involved in helping to ensure that companies, including government offices, offer neurodiverse friendly and support training to the neurodiverse population. My hope in sharing this with you is that it provides you with a sense of hope and determination as you continue on this journey with your loved one. And no matter where you are in this moment, it doesn't define who your child will be and what they will accomplish. And now I will end my story with a few photos and a video clip of Andrew's famous 3-pointer. Thank you for letting me speak today.
Thank you, Carol. I'd love to have you speak about any of these photos while I put them up. So feel free to narrate.
Okay.
So does everybody see my screen?
Not yet. Let me see.
I can see the pictures.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah. So that is Andrew when he was a baby. And then to the right is a toddler. And below, there's the 3 of them, Andrew, Sarah, and Grant. And then there's a picture of Andrew as he's approaching at the end of elementary school. Andrew at his bar mitzvah, Andrew as homecoming king, Andrew on a trip to Canada at a tea, and then Andrew with our now president of the United States and his sisters in there as well.
Sorry, skip one.
Andrew is off to Wisconsin. Oh, yeah, Andrew at our temple. He is in confirmation with a Teen Journey program at our temple. It's a high school program. And then there's Andrew with his Wisconsin cap and gown. Well, the gown from high school, yeah. Andrew taking him to the airport that very first early morning to Wisconsin. And there's more Andrew recently in Seattle. We took him on a little vacation. So.
And now here's the little video clip, which I'm so excited for everyone to watch.
Okay. They were screaming. I mean, I don't think you can hear it, or mine's not, but they're all screaming and cheering him on.
I love it. Thank you so much, Carol, for speaking and sharing your story with us today. I mean, you really did an amazing job visually describing all of the ups and downs of your whole journey. And I just, celebrating the big wins that Andrew had. I like wrote all of them down, like homecoming king, varsity basketball, accepted into college, getting on the dean's list, and virtual hall. And I know it's been, such a struggle. And what I really wanted to just say, what's so amazing about you and your family is that you've supported Andrew, of course, 100% of the way, but you were so quick to pivot when something wasn't working and say, yes, we're going to find something else. If we have to move to San Diego from LA, we're going to do that to get him into the right school. You took action. And I think that's something that's really incredible for our families to see and our community to see. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. And we San Diego is where I'm from originally, so it made sense. So
It worked out.
yeah, it worked out, yeah.
I'll read some of the comments from everyone who's writing in the chat. Thanks, everyone. Rich says, oh wait, let's see. We have a lot. Terrence says, first, that was an excellent speech, Carol. And I really love what you're saying about your son, Andrew, and the school with the internship program as well. That was something new that I learned about. I didn't know CIP, college internship program, that's something that you could apply for. Can you tell us how you found out about that and a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I was looking to see like, well, how can we prepare our college students, our prospective college students that we wanted him to go off to, he wanted to go off to college, and how's he going to live in a dorm, and is he ready? And so one year I Googled like preparation for college for, and I used autism and Asperger's, and I kept throwing all these terms in, and that came up, and it's a 2-week program. So I thought, well, that's pretty good. It's not too long. And they have them like, I think one in Orange County. So they're throughout the United States. Again, we chose Indiana because I thought, let's see what it's like in a completely other part of the country and at a big university. So he had a roommate, and I think, again, he's with a lot of kids like him, but it just kind of gave a good indication, like, how do you feel being away? How do you live in a dorm? How, what are the survival skills you need in college? So, it was definitely worth it. And it's definitely, the one he was at was very high functioning, but they probably have such different programs for the different needs, so.
Mm-hmm. That's good to know. Awesome.
Yeah.
And Terrence also said that he is on the dean's list too at
Hey.
the Mesa College, and he's a member of Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society as well.
Oh.
That's fabulous. I love seeing our young adults thrive. Rich said, hi, Rich. Thanks for joining us today. He said, thank you for sharing, Carol, and the wonderful presentation. I see many parallels with my son, Brett, especially since he attends Canning Crest Academy, CCA,
Oh.
and we're in the midst of navigating his next steps. And he says, wow, what a shot. The video. Rich, are you on here? Do you want to say something to Carol?
Yeah, sure. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, Carol, great presentation. And
Thank you.
I got the little shudders a couple of times when you were speaking, because it so reminds me of things I experienced with my son. So, we had him in a private school. We had him at Horizon Prep. And
Yeah.
you would think that's where you're going to get the best support, right? From a smaller classroom. And I couldn't believe, they literally came to us and said, we're just not prepared to handle your son, or to have your son be a part of our school. It was shocking. And then off to the public school system, and thank God for CCA, and it's been no looking back. So, but the forward part's a little cloudy, so you provide a lot of hope and inspiration. So
Is he in a support class there?
he is with Mike Minnick. I don't know if that rings a bell.
No, we
He's
had
this-
Mrs. Jennifer Ramirez, but they have more people now.
Yeah, definitely.
Good.
It's been great.
Yeah.
They've been responsive, and I mean, you have to be involved with it. A lot of parents don't realize that, right? If you don't get involved, it's only as good as what we put into it, but so far so good. So
Yeah.
I look forward to meeting you eventually in
Yes,
person.
love
I
to.
think that'd be
Yes,
great.
yes.
Thanks, Rich. Kim Rockwell also says, great job, Carol. Thanks for sharing your journey. So nice to know you're here for me as a mentor.
Absolutely.
Really excited. Kim, do you want to say something?
Yeah, Carol, I've been walking a few steps behind you and I never knew it all this time. It's so funny because a couple times I would go to you and I said, oh, you have somebody that comes to your house that works with Andrew to do working out. Can I get his number? And I never knew like that I was following directly behind you. But so many of your stories do parallel my life. The same thing, I tried to get my son into a local private school. And after interviewing, they said, parents pay a lot of money for this school, and I don't think they'd be happy with a kid sitting next to them that's stimming. And I said, wow, okay. And then his kindergarten teacher said, stick with the public school system. I cannot tell you how they are so much better adapted to deal with kids with autism and Asperger's. And I'm glad that I listened to their advice and stuck with the public school system. And then also you're talking about sitting there in your car going, oh my gosh, all my son's friends are in soccer and volleyball. And I'm taking my kid to occupational therapy and speech therapy and physical therapy. And I have all these appointments that are doctor's appointments. And I'm like, oh my God, my poor son's missing out on all this stuff. But it's so hopeful to know he made it to college, because I just didn't know if I should give up on that dream, but it's really good to know.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think because my younger son is friends with Ryan, like we didn't always talk about Andrew. And I don't think back then, even though it's not that long ago, we didn't really talk about this as much because we're new at it, and anyway, I didn't know where Andrew would end up, but yes, it can be very difficult, but there's light at the end of the tunnel, because there is, they develop and they grow so much from year to year. You'll be pleasantly surprised, and you're doing all the right things. And I'm always happy to be here to support and talk openly and honestly and share with any trainer, anybody that we have someone good now. So like anybody that,
And I'm glad he's going to CCA, because from what I understand, they have a phenomenal academic support team there. And so I think,
I loved it. Yeah.
Hearing from you and some of the other speakers on here, it's a great school for him. So that's great. Thank you. A great lecture.
I love it. Another comment from our community, John Hickey, who is one of our amazing program directors of our HPF USD Athletics Mentor Program. John has 2 sons, and his oldest has autism. And John, he said, my brother lives in Middleton, Wisconsin, not far from UW campus in Camp Randall Stadium. So maybe this is meant to be. We can have a whole trip out there of our team going to visit Andrew. Some of John's family. John, are you on this call? Do you want to say anything to Carol?
Yeah, that was a great talk. And, we all try to relate. My son's 21 and in the midst of his college journey. And it's just inspiring to see your son, kind of doing his thing and making it happen. And just the fact that we've learned to not make our kids stay in that box and just let them do their thing and thrive. And that kind of like the model we need to show people going forward, that, let them be them and go Badgers.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, my brother can hear Camp Randall from his house. So he watches the game on TV, and then he can hear the crowd.
Wow.
Sometimes it's delayed when he hears it. Like he'll hear the roar of the crowd and then watch the TV to see what happened.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, before we go, I also want to give a chance for maybe Andrew himself, if he'd like to say a few words to anybody. Andrew, we'd love to hear from you.
Hey guys.
Hi. Is there anything to share?
Yeah, like that was like great speech by mom. Like I hope to write it. So yeah, I was just like, thank you for like letting her share her experience with me. It was really cool here.
Aw.
Oh, Andrew, you're welcome. Thank you for helping me write it, Andrew.
It was very well done. And Andrew, it's so cool to see that you're doing so well and that you're making plans with friends and going to In-N-Out and all, these, you've come so far. And helping your mom write the speech, that is amazing. So congratulations on where you at and all that you've accomplished, Andrew.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I do want to take a group picture before we leave. So if everybody wants to turn on their cameras, I'd love
Rebecca, I wanted to say something to Andrew really quick, if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
Hi, Andrew. I started Autism Tree 18 years ago when my son Garrett was diagnosed. He just graduated George Washington University. And I wanted to plant a seed with you today and say, when your mom told me that you're working for Postmates, I was extraordinarily impressed. And if you ever, would like to be part of our neuroscience panel, I think that you would be an excellent inspiration to the neuroscience community. That is what we're really trying to do with our neuroscience conference, Andrew, is inspire these brilliant neuroscientists from all over the world who are actually here in San Diego at the Sanford Consortium for Regenerative Medicine and Salk and UCSD, to be inspired by people who are actually neurodiverse thinkers like yourself. They learn so much. Dr. Allison Motry is our chairman. He makes mini brains using saliva, and he's an incredible neuroscientist. The average neuroscientist has maybe 1 or 2 people in their lab. He has 17. He's funded by NASA and NIH. And I think that he would find you extraordinary, as well as love having you on the panel. And, he himself wanted his staff of 17 working in his lab. None of them had ever met a person with autism or a neurodiverse thinker. And having that panel every year has been, I'd like to say, a force multiplier in terms of why would these neuroscientists that go to conferences all over the world, why would they come to Autism Trees? Well, they would come because they don't get to hear from people who are neurodiverse thinkers, and they don't get to have a panel that's made up of people from around the country that are doing things like you are doing with the Mansfield Hall virtual program. And, it's really, I think it's an actual blessing and no accident that your family is coming to Autism Tree at a really important time to help us with all these teenagers, including Brett's, who's Rich's son, and to really give some guidance. The timing is just excellent because Rich's son is a junior. Is that correct, Rich?
Yeah, it sure is. And he just got a job at In-N-Out. So Andrew could have a little inside connection there.
I love it. And also he goes to the same school. Is that correct, Rich? Yeah.
Yeah, to CCA. So
Yeah.
he's going into 11th grade. So you've got all that experience on him.
But I think it's no accident. I mean, what a thread of connection. I mean, it could be any school, but it's the same school, and we're all in one community. And
Right.
And what's so positive in the middle of this global pandemic, I'd never heard of Zoom. I don't know if anyone else had, but it's opening up our community. And Jeff, I always tell you, but I won't miss the chance right now to tell you, I love seeing you every week, and I value you here. There's no way to quantify the impact that you personally make and the impact that I see you making on your own, being an advocate globally for autism. Makes me extraordinarily proud of you. And I always want the chance to say, I value you being here each week. It's incredible what we've accomplished during this time, 62 weeks in, right? And I can't wait to have you out here real time in San Diego, and I will make sure I see you, Jeff.
I'll be out in September, so.
Yes, I can't wait. Seriously, we are thinking about it. We're going to do our part to make sure it's memorable for you. But honestly, to get back on point, Carol, Andrew, and if your husband, Tom. Hi, Tom. Having your family on here is extraordinarily blessing, and I hope we continue to stay connected. And Andrew, if you'd like to be on our neuroscience panel this year, I'd like to personally say I think you'd be an excellent addition.
Thank you. Yeah, that sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. I think, you know, you're inspirational for sure.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, I'll follow up with you and your mom about that.
Okay.
That's great. Okay, wonderful, everyone. Now's the time to take a happy picture before we go. So turn on your cameras, sit up straight, big smiles. I'll do a countdown. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Awesome. Thanks everyone for being
Great job, Carol.
Thank you.
Excellent job, Carol. Well done.
Great job, Carol. Take care, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
job, Carol.
It's been nice meeting you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Good one.
Thank you.
Bye, Carol.